Good afternoon, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back. I always appreciate your presence. So I have two breaking news. One is good one. The other one is, bad one. So good and bad breaking news. Let me start with the good one. Credit for Ethio 360 Media is reporting about uh, Oromo Liberation Army expanding its operation in different parts of Oromia region. Also, controlling, the biggest city in Western Wallagga, uh, Nekemt. So Ethio 360 is reporting. Some other medias also confirmed this. Oromo Liberation Army controlling uh, Nekemt town, Nekemt, the city of Nekemt in Wallagga. Uh, so that's one. That's a good news. Also, OLA is expanding its operation in Asosa, Hararge, East, and Central Shore. So this is one. The other bad, heartbreaking news for especially for music lovers. Uh, the icon of the Oromo music culture, uh, Dr. Ali Bira, passed away today, according to Ethio 360 Media. So that's the bad news for Oromos, for friends of Oromo, and for music lovers at home and around the world. Dr. Ali Bira passed away today, according to this Ethio 360 Media. So Concerned Citizens Media uh, appreciate his contribution for Oromo struggle, for Oromo culture development, language development. He is the icon. He is the first uh, uh, to advance, to fight for Oromo's causes, for Oromo culture, for Oromo language, for Oromo music. So we are losing the biggest icon in this fight. So, you know, what can we do? When the end comes, it comes. We have no control over it, but we are saddened, heartbroken by the passing of Dr. Ali Birra. Uh, we, Concerned Citizens Media express its condolences, the deepest condolences to the families of Dr. Ali Birra, to the friends of Ali Birra, and to his admirers at home and all over the world. So that is the bad news, and what we can say, rest in peace. He did his part. He contributed his part for the development of the Oromo culture, the Oromo language, the Oromo struggle for freedom. So that's the bad news. And just for information, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is in Egypt for a COP27 meeting at Salman Sheikh uh, resort. He is there, and the peace deal is not holding, according to a different media outlet. The peace deal signed by Ethiopian federal government and by Tigray region's administrator is not holding. So, especially the agreement is broken by Ethiopian side and by Eritrean. So the bombardment of the cities in Tigray region continue, the looting of properties, and hurting the civilians continue. since the peace deal signed in South Africa. So what are the consequences for breaking the peace deal? Is there any? I didn't hear any statement from African Union, US State Department, or United Nations on this, incident, or purposefully targeting, bombing cities and attempting to capture more cities in the Tigray region by Ethiopian government and by Eritrean forces. So no consequences. If there is no consequences, there is no hope in this peace deal. And I appreciate the protesters in Seattle came out and blocked the highway to get attention on for this issue. So they did what they can do to stop the genocide, happening against the Tigrayans. So the peace deal is not holding. I hope they will start accepting it and honoring it. They are not honoring it, and they are attempting saying something, signing something, and on another side doing another thing. So that is going on. The peace deal is not holding in Tigray, and the Eritreans are not out. The Eritreans and the Ethiopians are bombarding the Tigrayans. So we want to hear something from African Union, UN, US, European Union, and we need to hear what are the consequences for breaking the peace deal. So let's listen to Ethio 360 on the expansion of Oromo Liberation Army operation, the control of cities, including Nekemt. This is a major achievement. So if they continue in this speed, the misery, the suffering of Oromos will come to an end. Oromos are suffering everywhere, whether in Amara region, under the special zone of Oromo in Wallo, they are suffering. Nobody is there to protect them. The Oromos over there they are the victims of Fano militia, Amara militia, and the Amara regional government, and including the federal force. They are just doing everything to dismantle these people, to force them leave the area, doing everything, killing, looting their properties, and confiscating what they have. The guns, usually they have guns to protect themselves from afar intruders, but this time the worst situation for them. No protection from Oromia, from Amara, from federal government. They are just the victim of continued attack. So that is very bad for those people living under Amara administration. So OLA advancing and capturing more cities and freeing cities from Prosperity Party propaganda, Prosperity Party administration, cadres. It will be a victory for Oromo people, and it will be a victory for the all Ethiopia. When Oromia is peace, there will be peace in all Ethiopia. So let's listen, and I will read some other news. Thank you again for joining me.
እስካሁን ድረስ ምን ያህል ንጹሃን ዜጎች በዚህ ኃይል ተገደሉ የሚለውን ማወቅ አልተቻለም። አካባቢው ላይ አሁን ከባድ ውጥረት ነግሷል። በምስራቅ ሸዋም በተመሳሳይ መልኩ የቡድን ጦርነት መክፈቱን ኢትዮ 360 ምንጮች ገልጸዋል። በሰሜን ምዕራብ ሸዋ አንዳንድ ወረዳዎችን ከመቆጣጠር አልፎ በኃላፊነት አካባቢዎችን እስከማስተዳደር መድረሱን ነው ምንጮቻችን የገለጹልን። ዛሬ ነቀምት ከተማ የተቆጣጠረው የኦነግ ታጣቂ ቡድን በመጀመሪያ ነቀምት ከተማ ሲገባ ያደረገው ነገር በነቀምት ከተማ ያለውን ትልቁን የጦር መሳሪያ ግምጃ ቤትን መዝረፍ ነበረ ግምጃ ቤቱን ዘርፏል ከዛም አልፎ ደግሞ ወደ 4000 የሚሆኑ እስረኞችን መልቀቁም ተሰምቷል ከተማዋ ላይ በገባበት ወቅት የፌደራል ኃይልና እንዲሁም ደግሞ የመከላከያ ሰራዊትን በከባድ ሁኔታ ጥቃት ማድረሱ ተሰምቷል እንግዲህ ንጹሃን ዜጎች ላይ እስካሁን ተባራሪ ጥቃቶች ከመምጣት ውጪ ይሄ ቡድን ያደረሰው ጥቃት እንደሌለ የተገለጸው ነገር ግን በነቀምት ከተማ ከ50 እስከ 60% የሚሆነው የአማራ ተወላጅ የሚኖርበት ከመሆኑ ጋር ተያይዞ የዚህ ቡድን ያለምንም ከልካይ ከተማውን መቆጣጠሩ ከባድ ስጋት ፈጥሯል ነገ ከነገ ወዲያም በንጹሃን የአማራ ተወላጆች ላይ ምን እንደሚፈጠር ማወቅ አልተቻለም በቤንሻንጉል ክልል ይሄው የኦነግ ገዳይ ቡድን አሶሳ ዞንን ለመቆጣጠር በአሶሳ መግቢያ የምትገኘው ባምቢሳ ላይ ጦርነት ከፍቷል በዚህ ጦርነት እንግዲህ ከአንድ ሳምንት በላይ ሆኗል የኢንተርኔት አገልግሎትን አቋርጧል የአሶሳ አየር ማረፊያን ተቆጣጥሯል እንዲሁም ደግሞ በአካባቢ ኢንተርኔት መቋረጥ ብቻ ሳይሆን ከወለጋ ወደ ጎጃም የሚመጣውን የቡሬ መስመር እስከመቆጣጠር ድረስ ደርሷል እነዚህና ሌሎች ናቸው ያሉት የኦነግ መስፋፋት ወደ በኋላ ላይ ስለምናነሳው እሱ ላይ ያነሳል መረጃ ካነሳው ወደ ሬድዋን ሁሴን ልመለስ አቶ ሬድዋን ሁሴን የትግራይ ክልል እንደሌሎች ክልሎች ሁሉ ልዩ ኃይል ይኖራል መሳሪያ የሚደራጃሉና ኤርሚያስ ወደ አንተ ልምጣ ሬድዋን ሁሴን ምንድን ያለው ምንስ ነው
Okay, they'll come to Dr. Ali Bira passing announcement.
ህዝቡ የህዋት በቃ መሳሪያ ፈታ አለቀለት ሲል ከነበረው ዛሬ ሬድዋን ወጥቶ በአደባባይ ሬድዋን ማለት ያው የአብይን ነው መጥቶ የሚነግረን ስለዚህ ምንድን ያለን ኤርሚያስ አንተ ትገልጽልን ድምጽ የለም ኤርሚያስ
ዶክተር አሊ ቢራ
ይቅርታ ረስቸው ነበረ አሁን ስቱዲዮ ከገባን በኋላ ነው ያየነው እንግዲህ ቀደምት ወይንም ደግሞ የሙዚቃ ንጉሱ ማለት እንችላለን በዘመን ተሻጋሪ ሙዚቃዎቹ የሚታወቀው የኦሮሚያ በተለይ ደግሞ የኦሮሚያ ሙዚቃ አቀንቃኙ አሊ ቢራ ከዚህ ዓለም በሞት መለየቱን ሰምተናል ለወገኖቹ ለአድማጭ ተመልካቾቹ እንዲሁም ለአድናቂዎቹ ሁሉ መጽናናትን እንመኛለን እናንተም እንደው በዚሁ እንግዲህ ዘመን ተሻጋሪ ሆኑ ስራዎች የሚታወቀው አሊ ቢራ ላይ ሐሳባችሁን ሰጣችሁ በደምሳት ይሸጋገር ኤርሚያስ አንተሽ
እሱን ነበር ላነሳ የነበረው ከሞላ ጎደል አንቺ ገለጽሽው ነው አንጋፋ ድምጻዊ ነው አርቲስት ነው ብዙ ስራዎቹ በኢትዮጵያውያን ዘንድ ልዩ ትዝታ የሚፈጥሩ ሙዚቃዎች አሉት ኢቭን ቋንቋውንም በሚሰማም በማይሰማውም ዘንድ ልዩ ትዝታ ያለው አንጋፋ አርቲስት ነው እኔም ባጭሩ ነፍስ ይማር እና ለወዳጆቹ ለቤተሰቦቹ እንዲሁም ለሙያ አጋሮቹ መጽናናትን እመኛለሁ ያ የሰው ልጅ መጨረሻው እንግዲህ መሄድ ስለሆነ ስራዎቹን እየዘከሩ መኖር ነውና ትልቅ የኢትዮጵያ ሙዚቃ ላይ አሻራውን አሳርፎ የሄደ ሰው ነው ኢየሩስ ይሄ ነው ልምድ
አብታም ትንሽ ሐሳብ ስትበትና ወደ ዋናው ጉዳይ መለሳለሁ
እሺ ያው የተሰማው ነገር ብዙ ሰው ሲጠብቅ ነበር አይ ቲንክ በየቀኑ በየሳምንቱ ኦልሞስት እንደዚህ ዜና ይነገር ነበር አርቲስት አሊ ቢራ አረፈ የሚል እንደገና ተጣርቶ ትክክል አይደለም እንደዚህ በተለያየ ጊዜ የተለያዩ ሐሳቦች ነበር የሚነሱትና በመጨረሻ ይሄ እውነት ሆኖ አርቲስቱ ይወጡ ማለፉን የሚያረጋግጡ ዜናዎች ወጥተዋል የተረጋገጡ ዜናዎች ናቸው የመንግስት ሚዲያዎች መዘገብ ስለጀመሩ እጅግ ያሳዝናል ያው የሰው ልጅ መቼም በህይወት ኑሮ መጨረሻው ማለፍ ነው ስለዚህ ብዙ አድናቂዎቹን ቤተሰቦቹን ልብ የሰበረ ነው ማንንም ቢሆን እንዲህ በዚህ ደረጃ የሚወደው የሚያደንቀው አርቲስት ሲያልፍ የሚሰማው ስሜት ለወዳጆቹ አድናቂዎቹ በሙሉ ይሰማል አርቲስቱ በኢትዮጵያ የኪነ ጥበብ ሙያ ውስጥ በተሰማራበት ሙያ ያው በደንብ የታወቀ ቅድም እንደተነሳው ኢቭን ቋንቋውን ማይችል ቆምኛው ማይችል ሰው ቢራን ዘፈን ልክ ያንዳንዱን መስመር ትርጉም እንደገባው አድርጎ ነው የሚያጣጥመው በጣም ፓሽኔት የሆነ ለረጅም ጊዜ ደግሞ በኢንዱስትሪ ውስጥ የቆየ ነው። ያው የኛ ሀገር ፖለቲካ ውጣ ውረድ በጣም ስላለው የሚዘፍናቸው ዘፈኖች ፖለቲካዊ ይዘት ያላቸው ደግሞ የተወሰኑ ስላሉ ከነሱ ጋር ተያይዞ የፖለቲካ ቅራኔዎች ይነሱ ምንም ቢሉ አመዛኙ ግን አርቲስቱ በሙያው ያለው ታላቅነት ነው ገዝፎ የሚታይ። ምናልባት እኔ በኢትዮጵያ ታሪክ ብዙ ነገር የተበላሸበት ዘመን በጣም ባስከፊ ሁኔታ የተበላሸው በዚህ 4 ዓመት በጣም የከፋ ነውና አብይ ከህዝብ ያልነጠለው አለ ብሎ ለማለት ይቸግራል። እና የዚህ 4 ዓመት በዚህ 4 ዓመት ውስጥ ይሄንን ግዙፍ አርቲስት ጨምሮ ሌሎቹንም የፖለቲካ መከለያ በማድረግ የቅቡልነት እጦታቸውን የአብይ ቡድን የቅቡልነት እጦቱን ማካካሻ ለማድረግ ያደረጉት ጥረት ሌላው ህዝብ ራቅ ብሎ እንዲያይ የሚያስገድዱ ሁኔታዎች እየተፈጠሩ ነበርና አንዳንድ ጊዜ እንደው በጊዜ ይሄንን እንኳን ያላየ ምናምን ይባላል። የከፋ ነገር ሲሆን ወይ እንኳን ያልነበረ እንኳን ያላየ እንደሚባለው እንደዛ አይነት ስሜት ነበር እየተፈጠረ ያለው። እንደው ቅርብ ጊዜ ከአርቲስት አጫሉ ሁንዴሳ መሞት ጋር ተያይዞ እሱ በጣም በሚያሳዝን ሁኔታ ያው በተገሎ ህይወቱ አለፈ። የፈለገውን ያክል የፖለቲካ ልዩነት ቢኖር እንኳን ብዙ ሰው በሞቱ በጣም ያዘነው በጣም በዚህ እድሜው የሚመሰለ ወጣት የበለጠ እየበሰለ የበለጠ እያስተዋለ የበለጠ የተሻለ ነገር ሊሰራ የሚችልበት ሰፊ እድል ያለው ወጣት ለጊዜ ህይወቱ አለፈ ሚለው ያሳዝን ነበር። ነገር ግን አርቲስቱ ሞት ተከትሎ
what makes up the simulation center here at Rochester School of Medicine is actually 2 different areas.
Okay, yes, so that's about the confirmation of the passing of Dr. Ali Bira, senior Oromo iconic figure who contributed a lot for Oromo movement toward freedom, especially in developing Oromo language, Oromo culture, Oromo art. So that's a great loss for the Oromo communities and for the admirers of Dr. Ali Bira. That's a heartbreaking story. What they were saying about, an attempt by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed by using artists like Dr. Ali Bira to twist some ideas and use them to express statement during the passing of artist, Hachalu Hundessa. So they just complaining about that. Ali Bira said something that time. So they are not happy about that, except that Ali Bira is a great figure. And it's a big loss for Oromo community at home and around the world, even the art community in Ethiopia. So what they say about the control of OLA, control of Nekemt, that's a big achievement. It's a big city. They control the storm the city. First, they control the military depot, attacked the military camps, the federal military camp and the regional military camp in Nekemt, and also storm the prison cells, released 4,000 political and other prisoners. And they say about 50 to 60% of the residents of Nekemt are Amaras, almost more than half. And OLA deserve appreciation, without collateral damage to the civilians. They control, they attack, the target, the military target, the military depot. They release they attack the prison cell. They didn't attack the civilians. That's a huge achievement, and the OLA should be appreciated and deserve credit. This media, Ethio 360, is watching for something like OLA maybe attacking, forcing the Amaras out of Nekemt, but that didn't happen. Usually they talk about Amara killed here, Amara killed here. They don't talk about Oromos. So they are not happy about the expansion of OLA, but they have to report. They have to report as a media. So, but that's is a great achievement without collateral damage to civilians, without attacking or without conducting ethnic-based attacks, without attacking the Amaras, 50 to 60% residents of Nekemt. Controlling the city is a major achievement for OLA, Oromo Liberation Army. They're also expanding their operation and controlling Asosa Airport in Benishangul Gumuz region. Also, their operation to control the city of Asosa. Plus, they control the major road between Amara and Oromia region, Pure Road. That's their announcement. And they are also in East and East Shore, Hararge, and Central Shore. So OLA is not a simple organization. Now is advancing, increasing the force power, becoming a great formidable force to defeat Prosperity Party defense forces. So they are expanding their operations. Their operations are in everywhere in Oromia region now. So I hope we will see more OLA expansion into Adama, which is called Nazareth, also in capital city Addis Ababa. They are not too far. They are not too far. They are around. They are around. So we hope they will change this system and to make peace in Oromia and also in Ethiopia in general. So they will end impunity of Prosperity Party, just harassing, torturing, killing, arresting the Oromos without any accountability at all. So I hope these forces will come in timely manner to end the suffering of Oromos in Wallo and everywhere in Oromia region. So that's so saying that, as I said, no civilian casualty in this Nekemt operation is a big achievement. We should appreciate them and congratulate them for their achievement in Nekemt, in controlling Nekemt. But BBC didn't confirm OLA control Nekemt, but it's saying they stormed the city. They stormed the city. And let me see what it said, BBC. Rebels storm Ethiopian town. Heavy gunfire has been heard after rebel fighters stormed the Ethiopian town of Nekemt. Residents have told the BBC. Oromo Liberation Army militants entered the city at dawn on Sunday and opened fire on government security forces, said one resident who asked not to be named for his safety. We are sitting inside our house, listening to the gunfire, he said. The gunfire was heard near the town's military camp. The authorities have not yet commented on the report. The BBC's attempt to reach the mayor and the security officials in the city were unsuccessful. Another resident also said he could hear shooting after fighters entered the town, which lies about 300 kilometers west of the capital Addis Ababa in the Oromo region. He said that no one was moving. The fighting follows recent clash in nearby parts of Oromo between the Oromo Liberation Army and the security forces. Ethiopia's government has been fighting the Oromo Liberation Army for the past 4 years. The Oromos are Ethiopia's largest ethnic group, but have long complained about being marginalized. That's true. The OLA has a military alliance with the TPLF, which had been fighting the government in the northern Tigray region for the past 2 years until it signed a peace agreement earlier this week. According to that agreement, the TPLF should stop supporting any other militias operating in the country. So, BBC, it didn't say Nekemt is controlled, but it says OLA storm the city. So maybe this happened on Sunday, and other medias confirming Nekemt is under OLA, but BBC didn't confirm. Rights bodies urge effective transitional justice in wake of Ethiopia's peace agreement. In the wake of agreement for lasting peace and the cessation of hostilities signed by the federal government and the Tigray People Liberation Front, TPLF, Ethiopia Human Rights Commission and the Human Rights Watch have urged the government and its partners to ensure the mechanisms of victim-centered justice and access to human rights experts and independent rights monitors to all areas affected by 2-year-long war. For sustainable and inclusive peace to be achieved, the adoption of transitional justice policy should be preceded and informed by a nationwide, genuine, consultative, inclusive, and victim-centered conversation, the state-backed Ethiopia Human Rights Commission said. The state-backed rights body also highlighted the need for inclusion of a diverse range of national actors, including traditional and religious leaders, as well as the meaningful participation of women as necessary, and asked the international community and partners to support the federal government in setting up or strengthening a transitional justice mechanism based on regional and international standards, which is good. Similarly, Human Rights Watch said the Ethiopian partners and the government's backers need to make clear that accountability for the gravest crimes will remain on the agenda so the countless victims of this heinous war can obtain a measure of justice. Under Article 2, principles underpinning the permanent cessation of hostilities, the peace agreement signed between the two warring parties of the war, they agreed to be guided by respect for fundamental human rights and democratic norms and principles, protection of civilians, respect for the African Charter on Democracy, elections, and governance, accountability and justice in accordance with the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia Constitution and the AU Transitional Justice Policy Framework. The agreement seen by Human Rights Watch does not explicitly mention the situation for civilians in Western Tigray zone, the site of the ethnic cleansing campaign. The warring parties should facilitate immediate and safe access for international humanitarian agencies, including to formal and informal detention sites without prior notification, Human Rights Watch said. It also lamented that the agreement lacks details on formal accountability, with the joint statement only mentioning a transitional justice policy framework to ensure accountability, truth, reconciliation, and healing. Human Rights Watch added that, given the Ethiopian authorities' denials since the war began that they were obstructing humanitarian assistance in the Tigray region, it will be critical for the African Union and others monitoring the agreement to ensure that the obstructions end. Over the past 2 years, impunity for various crimes has taken root and driven further abuses. Kaneza Natulia, Deputy African Director at Human Rights Watch, said, Ethiopia's partners and the agreement's backers need to make clear that accountability for the gravest crimes will remain on the agenda so the countless victims of this heinous war crime obtain a measure of justice. Credit at this standard. In the same manner, Amnesty International also called for justice. Let me read. This is also a short statement. Peace agreement must deliver justice to victims and the survivors of conflict. Responding to the signing of peace agreement between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray People Liberation Front TPLF following 2 years of brutal conflict, Mulea Mwaniyanda, Amnesty International Director for East and Southern Africa, said, the signing of a peace agreement on Wednesday is a step in the right direction, yet further strides must be taken to address the accountability deficit that has permeated the conflict since it began. All parties to the war have committed unspeakable abuses, including mass extrajudicial executions and sexual violence against women and girls. These appalling crimes cannot simply be washed away. At present, the accord fails to offer a clear roadmap on how to ensure accountability for war crimes and crimes against humanity, and overlooks rampant impunity in the country, which could lead to violations being repeated. To ensure justice for victims and the survivors of atrocities, the Ethiopian authorities must allow unfettered access to human rights investigators, including the United Nations mandated International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia. They must also provide humanitarian corridors so that the thousands of people facing starvation and medical emergencies can get the assistance they need. Credit Amnesty International for this news. So that's it. Yes, cessation of hostility is a good thing, but accountability also a major thing we have to follow up, and until that accountability come to reality. But the Ethiopian government, the Eritrean government, they try to control the region, the Tigray region. Then they can intimidate with the investigators, and they can prevent them from, the place they want to see, the place they want to investigate, if they control the Tigray region in total. That's their attempt. By doing that, they can avoid war crime, genocide they committed. So that is the game. Despite the signing of the deal, they are waging the war in the Tigray region. They are waging the war, and nobody is saying anything. This is about the 3 judges arrested by the police in Oromo region. This is injustice in Oromo, injustice everywhere in Ethiopia, really. Let me read what it says. Outcry over arrest of 3 Oromo Supreme Court judges after allowing a bail to Johar Mohammed security details. Police in Adama, East Shore Zone of the Oromo Regional State, detained 3 judges of the Oromo Supreme Court, Eastern Criminal Division, without due process of the law. An informant who is close to the matter but asked to remain anonymous told Addis Standard. The judges, Desaleny Lemmy, Mohammed Jima, and Abdisa Wakijira were detained on Friday, 4 October, around 2:40 p.m. local time from their office located inside the court premises. They were detained by members of local police of the Adama city. And a source close to the matter told Addis Standard. Speaking on condition of anonymity, the source said that the police have accused the judges of being suspected of terrorism-related offenses. However, their detention came shortly after the judge ruled the release on bail of 6 security personnel of opposition leader Johar Mohammed. They were arrested in October this year during the weekend of the EHRC celebration and remain in detention since. Their arrest stirred outcry on social media among the legal community as well as condemnation from Chief Justice Maaza Ashanafi and Right Commissioner Daniel Bekele. Maaza condemned the arrest, saying that it is extremely concerning, and added there are strict procedures to be followed to remove the impunity of judges and arrest them when suspected of committing criminal offense. Maaza said the Supreme Court was trying to verify the situation and the request for the reversal of such measure, which is a dangerous precedent that seriously impacts the independence of judges and their institution. That's right. Pointing at similar incident in the past, Maaza said that plenum of Federal Supreme Court and the regional courts have previously issued a resolution against such practices following some illegal measures against judges in some regional states. Chief Commissioner of Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, Daniel Bekele, PhD, in his part said, is an assault on independence of the judiciary. They should be released immediately and unconditionally. According to a report by Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, the arrest was made based on a warrant from a lower level Warada court, which the court issued without knowing the suspects were judges and later ruled it void. However, Addis Standard confirmed that the judges remained detained at the Dambala Sub-City Police Station in Adama City until the publication of this news. The Oromo Supreme Court didn't issue a statement on the arrest of its judges. Attempt by Addis Standard to get a comment from the court were unsuccessful. They don't want to do because they are working with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. I don't think this local court can order the arrest of the Supreme Court. No, this is just a game. This thing is happening from the top, from the Prime Minister office, because this security details. The security personnel are protecting Johar Mohammed. He is the highest politician, the senior politician in Oromo Federalist Congress. So this just, the judge ordered their release. He came mad, and he used different tactics to play around and remove these 3 judges. That's the game. That's the game. Injustice. Maza and others are just, Ethiopian Human Rights Commission is good. They're becoming strong. But Maza, so many things happen under her watch. She is the highest person to protect the justice system in that country, but she is also manipulated by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. He is the one ordering these things, not the lower level. The lower level cannot order the arrest of these judges. Okay, finally, this is about Secretary Blinken call with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. This is it's a readout of their phone conversation. What it says. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke yesterday with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. The secretary discussed joint effort to improve the quality of life for Palestinian people and enhance their security and freedom. He further reaffirmed our commitment to a two-state solution. The secretary underscored his deep concern over the situation in the West Bank, including heightened tensions, violence, and the loss of both Palestinians and Israeli lives, and emphasized the need for all parties to de-escalate the situation urgently. So that's a readout of call Antony Blinken, Secretary of State, with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, which is encouraging and is supporting the two-state solution. I don't know what is the delay, why they are holding on it. Why? That is a minimum thing the Palestinians asked. The Palestinians are demanding. It's not about 1967 border. Just minimum, just two-state solution. Palestinians and Israelis to live in peace side by side. That's a minimum. The major thing is when the Palestinians demand the 1967 border. That's a war. That's another war. So what is the hold on that two-state solution? They're talking, but no solution so far. So let me conclude today's presentation. I appreciate your time with me. The peace deal signed between Ethiopia and the Tigray region is not holding. And those mediators, witnesses, they should come out and speak up against Ethiopian government, against the Eritrean forces still bombarding, still killing civilians, still looting properties from Tigray people. So that's not holding. Various efforts are underway, meeting between Tigray region authorities, the federal government in Kenya, so many news. But the first thing is this peace deal must be, honored, and any breaker should be accounted for, whether Ethiopia or Eritrea. So already broken, nobody is accounted for. The bombardment continue, and the attempt to capture all cities in the Tigray region continue by Ethiopian forces and Eritrean forces. The other thing is, again, I repeat my condolences on the passing of Dr. Ali Bira. We listened to his music since we were young, and very inspiring, entertaining, and we lost him today. So I express my deepest condolences to the families to the friends, to admirers of Ali Bira, Dr. Ali Bira, and what can I say? Just rest in peace. And OLA operation also appreciated. Continue your freedom movement, peaceful operation without attacking civilians. Americans will appreciate. European Unions will appreciate. Any human being will appreciate if you are not targeting, if you are not conducting ethnic-based operations. So 50 to 60% per residents, Amara residents in Nekemt, and you are safely conducting your operation without touching them. That's recommendable, appreciable, and continue that operation until you freed all Oromia regions from prosperity cadres and the prosperity forces, and make free Oromia. Congratulations, OLA, and that's all I'm gonna say. Please be safe. See you again. So long, everyone.